Time now for The Clash. And lefty comedian Nish Kumar, an upcoming guest host on the BBC's family quiz show Pointless, has made his feelings crystal clear about a Conservative Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, and quite frankly, they're shocking. He actually describes our Prime Minister multiple times as an Asian C-word. Now, the corporation seems content to let Kumar carry on that vein, and who should be surprised, given that their former political presenting supremo, the left-wing wolf Andrew Marr, has finally thrown off his sheep's clothing by revealing that he wants there to be a Labour government. So, from the knickers crass Nazi jibe to now calling the Prime Minister the C-word, does the BBC have double standards on political bias? Let me know your thoughts by emailing dan@gbnews.uk. You can vote in our poll at GBNews on Twitter. The results shortly, but I've got a fabulous lineup in the studio tonight. Entertainment legend, of course, a familiar face on the BBC for many years, Christopher Biggins, the broadcaster Narinder Kaur, and the former Conservative MEP David Campbell Bannerman. So, Biggins, look, let me just get this straight for a moment. Nish Kumar, who I don't find personally funny, but he claims he's a comedian, right?
Yeah.
He has just been given a job to be the guest presenter of Pointless, which is the BBC's main family game show. Can you tell me if there was any other right-wing or non-left-wing comedian or white comedian who were to describe the Prime Minister as an Asian C-word that would ever work at the BBC again?
No. Would never happen. But the trouble is the BBC now have two standings. They say you can't do this, and they do it. And that is the problem with the BBC. You can't have people going around calling the Prime Minister the C-word. Forget what nationality is. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Shall we take a listen to what he said?
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Listen to this. It's bleeped, don't worry.
No, it's bleeped.
I assumed that if an Asian man became Prime Minister, he'd be nice. No. And I know that we're in Leicester, a city with a large Asian community, and statistically a lot of you must be and I want you to know, if you're a young Asian you too can be Prime Minister.
Narinder Kaur, as an Asian woman, do you find that acceptable? I can't believe that you are defending Kumar here.
I don't think the C-word's acceptable at all. I think it's actually an awful word. It's abhorrent. However, this isn't about politics here. This is about a brown person judging a brown person, a South Asian saying, actually, we're so happy that there is an Asian Prime Minister. We've got a brown face up there. We've dreamt about this all this time. But actually, he's a huge letdown. And we do look, we will hold a brown Prime Minister to a higher standard because we're Asian.
But Narinder,
I don't think the BBC's got anything to do with it.
There's freedom of speech. If Nish Kumar wants to be a vile, horrible, racist man, he can do so.
That is not being racist.
My issue is that the BBC is giving him a prime-time role when they're trying to say that they're impartial,
This is his private podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can't have it both ways. Either he's a comedian or he's a presenter.
Exactly.
And, you know, he's mixing it up here, as he often does. I think it's very insulting. It's very bad language to be used about any Prime Minister, you know, and to use it in this context is wrong. And also, you know, he is BBC, so you got the news quiz.
Actually, this is his private podcast.
And this is
as an Asian man to an Asian man saying, actually, I'm judging you as a brown man to brown man. This is not BBC.
But he's bringing race into it, because, and what makes me furious about that is you just know that if a white comedian or a black comedian was to describe Rishi Sunak as an Asian C-word, they would be finished. They would never work again.
Absolutely.
Obviously, because a white person
Let Biggins speak and then you can respond to it.
Shut up. Their career would be over. You're absolutely right. And it's, you know, it's the double standing I can't stand.
Yeah.
You know, and that is what is wrong. And the BBC need to look to this because they're supposed not to be political.
Yeah.
I mean, if Keir Starmer was called the C-word, would you be thrilled by that? No.
No, I think the word's horrible, but he said Asian. Let's put the Asian. You're taking the Asian out of it. And you also, we couldn't say that. Of course you couldn't say that. Why would you say Asian C-word? You're not allowed to say that.
But why would you say the C-word?
Because that would make you racist.
No, let me give you another circumstance then. What if a high-profile black Conservative politician, let's say James Cleverly, was to describe David Lammy as a black C word, he would be cancelled immediately.
Completely cancelled. But this is brown
it's the
to
same
brown.
situation.
It's not. It's like a black person calling a black person. They can. So a brown person can call a brown person. And he didn't say anything derogatory. The C word was actually vile, but he said Asian. And he's judging it on because we hold Asian people to a higher standard. He's disappointed.
But David, just imagine for 1 second the outcry that there would be if the brilliant Conservative comedian Jim Davidson, who was actually here last night, were to be hired to be a guest host on Pointless. I mean, by the way, Pointless would get its best ratings in years, and it would be absolutely hilarious if Jim was there. But the BBC would never do it. So that is proof of double standards.
I think the other thing is, Kumar, is the news quiz, Radio 4. Now, that involves actually sort of looking at news in an impartial way, isn't it not? I mean, impartiality. Seems to be like a Lineker 2, this, to me. And, the BBC has to decide what it's going to do. I mean, I don't think we got clear guidance from Lineker. I don't think he's really sort of taken the mickey, Lineker.
Well, that's what's happened now.
But do you not think the BBC, it's public funded so they can take more risks? When it's commercial, they can't take those kind of risks. I think BBC can take those kind of risks. They can be a little bit political when they want to be. Why not?
I don't think that's why we're paying for it, Narinder. Do you not understand that?
But they're not one way or the other.
We don't pay our licence fee to be constantly fed left-wing propaganda.
But you'd be happy if it was right-wing.
I am not happy. Well, no, I would not be happy if it was right-wing, but it's not right-wing. That's the point, and it's never right-wing.
And also, they shouldn't be political. On a level.
He's a comedian, like Jeremy Clarkson, and they said he can say what he likes. It's comedy. Why can't Nish?
No, but nowadays,
why can't Nish? Why can Jeremy and Nish can't?
I would hate to be a comedian now, because a comedian can't say anything. You have to think about. You see, he obviously didn't think.
As John Cleese says, as John Cleese says,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, but he
when
obviously
I interviewed
didn't
John
think.
Cleese the other day, it was fascinating. He said he will not even offer up the new series of Fawlty Towers to the BBC because he knows that it would be woke wash.
Yeah.
That's what I call everything they do. But what I find hilarious, Narinder, is they woke wash everything, but when it's one of their favourite comedians, their favourite lefty comedians, he's allowed to call the Prime Minister an Asian C-word. I just cannot believe that you can defend that.
I can defend it because it's brown on brown.
No,
and we're
not saying right.
It's allowed.
Why is this to do?
It's not political.
It's not political.
It's about Asian. He's a brown person. We're going to judge the brown.
It shouldn't be anything to do with race. This is about bad language, and
it is about bad language.
Impartiality or not, lack of.
But I don't think he's doing. I don't think he's being political here. He's genuinely being. This is about an Indian judging an Indian.
Oh, I think he is being very political.
Narinder, I just want to put something to you. Is it true? Is it true?
You're in trouble.
True that you said that while you wouldn't use the C word, you would actually use another C word to describe Rishi Sunak?
I would have said he's a bit of a coconut.
Explain what that means.
So that means I get called. It's not racist. If brown people would call me that sometimes.
Explain what it means.
So what it means is you are brown on the outside, white on the inside, like a Bounty. Yeah, it's like the Bounty chocolate bar. So I often get called that by other Indian people, and I don't mind that.
But you're going to call Rishi Sunak that?
Oh, Rishi Sunak is a coconut.
Okay, well, I'm going to put. I'm going to say to you immediately, Narinder, that is hugely racist, because what you are saying.
It is racist. It's not racist.
Let me explain why. Because what you're saying is that an Asian Prime Minister cannot be rich, cannot be on the right, cannot be highly successful.
He can be all of that.
And I think that is so wrong.
Most Asians are very successful. Look, in Scotland, we've got...
Well, why are you saying he's not a real Asian?
Because he's not looking after brown people. And I know you're going to say, why should he? It matters. Symbolism matters.
That's racism, isn't it?
I couldn't agree more. I love you lots, but what you're saying is rubbish. I cannot believe it. And this whole business of a brown person can say about a brown person that they're a C-word or a coconut. I mean, I think it's ridiculous.
Not C-word. Coconut.
David, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's a racist term, and I don't like it. And if you and I said it, we'd been serious.
Oh, my goodness.
Let's be honest.
But you can't. A white person can't say it to a brown person.
Are you not worried that you're creating a society of total double standards?
I don't think it's double standards, because this is a brown person can say it to a brown person. There's nothing wrong with that.
A white person can't say it.
But you're not thinking about white people listening to this.
It's about Indian people they're being gatekeepers. Suella and Rishi Sunak, they're gatekeepers. They didn't do do anything for Indian people. They didn't show that Indian, and their thoughts on immigration
do you know what?
are not very
I think
Indian.
that is an absolutely disgusting thing to say, because what Rishi Sunak and Suella Braverman have done is show it to any young Asian person in this country, you can reach the top.
They have done that. I agree.
And you know
on
what?
merit.
I agree.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely, on merit, not because race. And you know what? Suella in particular would absolutely hate to be judged on her race. And I think the fact that you're throwing around that term about her is racist. I think what Nish Kumar said is racist. And the problem is, Narinder, you are very quick to call white people racist all the time, and it doesn't go one way. That's all I'm going to say. It doesn't go one way.
I think a brown person can say that word.
Okay.
And I think
you've made your point. You've made your point.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Narinder Kaur, Christopher Vickers, David Campbell-Bannerman, thank you so much. But what do you think about this? As Future Pointless presenter Nish Kumar calls Rishi Sunak the C word, does the BBC have double standards on political bias? Well, Monique on Twitter writes, yes. Lina Kumar, the list goes on. They give only left-wing figures a platform, knowing full well that they'll use it to voice their own views and messages, which is exactly what the Beeb wants. Andrew on the email writes, of course the BBC is biased, almost to the point of being unwatchable. I mean, I agree with that. It's scandalous that I have to pay a fee, basically, to finance the BBC to watch live TV on other channels. This ridiculous arrangement must end. And from Donny, the once great BBC has been hijacked by agenda-driven monsters employing only those who share their woke and liberal views. And your verdict is now in. It's overwhelming. 93% of you agree that the BBC does have double standards on political bias. Biggins is very happy about that, Narinder. Only 7% of our audience with you tonight, Narinder.
They're all proud, no doubt.
Coming up.